So, what does the theory of natural selection suggest? Darwin described 4 observations on nature in his book On the Origin of Species, published in 1859 and sold out immediately, and from this he drew 3 conclusions. First observation: too many offspring are born. A hen kicks 15 to 20 eggs. A sea turtle lays about 120 eggs. If all of these descendants had survived, species population would have increased exponentially, generation after generation. Second observation: despite potential for exponential increase, population sizes remain at relatively stable levels over generations. This means that only a very small percentage of large numbers of produced eggs, neonates and seeds completes its development and brings forth offspring. For example, just a few turtles hatch out of all these caretta eggs, and from those that are hatched, others will die from dehydration before they reach the water, others will be eaten by birds of prey, and ultimately, few are the ones that manage to become adult turtles. First conclusion: in order to maintain the size of a population, despite the tendency for growth, some individuals do not survive or reproduce. Therefore, a survival struggle is taking place between the organism of a population. The creatures of a species are not the same. There is a huge diversity. For example, people show great differences in color, shape of the skull and eyes, height, fat distribution, and physical abilities. The beans have differences in shape, size, color, and nutrition. The cats have different color, head and body shape, different hair length, different behaviors, etc. Darwin could not know the cause of this diversity, but today we know it is due to the accidental changes that have occurred in genetic material, named as mutations. Fourth observation: Darwin also observed that most of the characteristics of the parents are passed on to their offspring. Second conclusion: Darwin concluded that the success in the struggle for survival is not accidental. On the contrary, it depends on the type of features that an organism has inherited from its ancestors. Organisms that have inherited features that help them to adapt better to their environment survive longer and leave more offspring than organisms that have inherited less favorably for their survival features. Third conclusion: the characteristics that are favorable for survival appear more frequently in the next generation. And as one generation follows the other, the favorable features accumulate in the populations. And as a result, the populations change over time and create new species. This process, through which individuals with specific inherited characteristics survive and reproduce more than others, Darwin called it a natural selection. Because different areas have different conditions and different survival opportunities, different organisms are chosen from the natural selection as the most adapted to the specific environment. Since new species are constantly created in a constantly divergent path, Darwin thought, all beings that live at one time may originate from a primitive form, which means they may have a common ancestor. After a century, Watson and Crick would confirm that Darwin was right by discovering in DNA a simple language of only 4 letters, common for all forms of life. This chart, which reveals the evolutionary history and degree of relatedness between the different groups of organisms, is called a phylogenetic tree. At the ends of the branches of such a tree are placed the organisms that live today. while the meeting points of the branches correspond to common ancestors of these organisms. To sum up, Darwin introduced the theory that the variety of living organisms resulted from an inheritance of inborn characteristics that had been modified and passed through a sieve, the natural selection. Everything happens step by step. Everything is linked by a common explanation. Time, luck, and reproduction rule the earth.